Hello, it's Friday and this video comes to you in 3 parts.
It's chickens of awesome.
Much of what I wanted to say has already been said by Nina and Alia, and I guess I'll just make some comments and maybe add a few things. The first thing I wanted to point out was that gender roles by themselves aren't good or bad. It's just people's perception of them that can be harmful because people make judgments based on gender. As Nina already said, gender is a complicated thing. Not everyone fits into, I'm not gonna say traditional roles, but I suppose roles that are gender roles that are right now accepted in society. I think most people do fit into these roles, but not everyone, and I think it's pointless to try to force people into one or the other end of the spectrum. This is just forcing people to live in a way that isn't comfortable to them or does not align with the way they want to live. Trying to do these things, trying to force gender roles onto people leads to things such as rape culture, slut-shaming, politicians thinking that they can choose what women should do with their bodies and stuff like that. Same as aluminium, I also mostly experience sexism as in the form of offhand comments that were ignorant or made my thoughts or feelings into something of a whim, and like, I don't know, maybe caused by PMS or something, and that just really pisses me off and I can't ever respond to it in a normal way. I also agree with her that these small comments aren't just that, because nothing exists in a vacuum and everything affects other things, and things like this are preventing the change of the state of the society, which right now isn't exactly brilliant. It is better than it was, but that didn't happen on its own. It happened because people spoke about it. I also agree with her that society is right now sort of preventing us from speaking up about it, because you are instantly labeled as, I don't know, a fun hater or whatever, and I don't think many people like to be labeled as such, at least I don't, but you know, maybe I'm just really weak. What I don't agree with aluminium about is the focus on men, because, well, it is men that are mostly sexist, but I've heard almost as many comments from women. There were negative and positive stereotypes as opposed to men where they are mostly negative, but as Nina said, any kind of stereotyping is bad, so that doesn't really change anything. I found some links about rape culture that I put in the description, and one of them shows that rape culture is not something that is made up, and that men aren't the only ones who are perpetuating it. These videos that we made in the past 2 weeks have also made me want to talk about war idealization, heteronormativity, cisnormativity, and a bunch of other problems, but that's too much, and I can only tell you that they exist and we should be aware of them, but I can't really speak from their point of view because I'm not a part of these problems or minorities or whatever, and I don't know how they are experiencing it. Now, I could be wrong about every single thing that I mentioned, but based on what I've seen, heard, read, or witnessed in any kind of way, I believe them to be true. But if I came across any arguments, legitimate arguments that would disprove something I said or made me realize that I'm wrong about something, then I would change my opinion, because that's how learning about the world works, and maybe not enough people are aware of that. I mean, I hate admitting that I'm wrong, which you probably know if you know me, but I still try to do it if I realize my mistake, and I'm trying to be aware of my mistakes and recognize them when I do them. Okay, I've veered off into some sort of discussion about, I don't know what it is, research methods, or maybe even civil discourse. I should probably talk about music. When I was growing up, I wasn't really that much into music because my parents weren't exactly music enthusiasts. I mean, we had a few CDs and we listened to them in the car, but that was it. So I guess the first music I came into contact with was maybe classical music, because my father quite likes it and he listened to that in the car. And I think my first CD was Eminem. I was quite fond of him. I'm still actually quite fond of him. There was also Britney Spears and Avril Lavigne. Then I think in the end of primary school, I got into Blink 182 and other punk rock bands, and then I kind of started discovering everything. First classical rock and stuff like that, but then also indie stuff and folk, and that ranges from country to Irish music and anything you can think of. Also lately jazz, and I guess classical music was always sort of there because I played flute in the music school and it was mostly classical stuff. I should probably list some bands, but you should just go look at my Last.fm account, because it's like a really wide range, so. I think I've implicitly already answered Nessie's and Anya's questions, so I'll just skip to the others. Emma's question was about whether we think this kind of, I don't know, I guess preconceived opinions are not opinions, just I guess gender roles, are based on stereotype or genetics. And I don't actually know, but I'm leaning into the direction that most of it is caused by the way that the whole, I guess, society thinks and how children are brought up in that way, even if not intentionally. So I think that's it. I mean, surely there's a genetic factor involved because, well, women can give birth and men can't, and this is a difference. But I don't think that it goes up to the level that we think it does. Nina asked about the chicken or the egg, and my go-to answer here is usually Emma's answer, because I like being annoying by being literal, but I'm aware that it's a metaphorical question, even if it's slightly clumsily put, because we've since discovered that there were prehistoric species who laid eggs, so you can't really get the real meaning of this question from just the words chicken and egg. So what it actually means, it's, and I'm quoting Wikipedia here, which came first, eggs that can't come without Y, or Y that can't come without X. And that makes it a philosophical question which I really don't feel comfortable or even justified answering, but my first thought would be that it's implying the balance of the universe, however cheesy that may sound, and maybe that it's either both or neither, the chicken and the egg, or X and Y. No one told me that we're doing shoebox project for the next book, but I'm fine with it. Best wishes, and don't forget the bills. So, bye.